a lot, and I would like to see that we can get back to the 528, tuning. And I think now with the advent of new instruments, synthesizers, and things that can be tuned very quickly and very easily electronically, that we can probably do that in the future.
Yes, I would like to see that too, because I don't think it's any secret that the Earth is in big trouble, and so are we.
Yeah.
So, and I'm, as a musician and, somebody who's in the business, I know that your music is designed to help heal the world, because it does affect the chakras. Isn't that a part of the psychoacoustics of the music that you're putting out now?
Exactly. And a lot of the instruments that we use on the project, the Logical Drift project, were basically centered around this whole idea of the 528 tuning.
Wow.
For example, we use a ukigomi, which is an instrument we created on the synthesizer, which is basically a combination of different layers of sound, but all centered around that 528 frequency.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Wow, that's really exciting. I mean, that is really exciting. To get out of the disharmonic frequencies and start to move back into resonance with the planet and with each other.
Yeah, well, that's where we want to go. That's exactly what we want to do. That's exactly what we're trying to help people get to.
Wonderful.
Because, without even telling them that that's what we're doing. The people that hear it, they say, hey, I like that. That makes me feel good.
Right, exactly. Of course, our audience here likes to know all the background on the spiritual stuff, because it's a curious audience. But it also is nice to be able to just listen to music and know that it's not something that is subconsciously doing something like mind control or placing bad thoughts in there, because there is a lot of mind control stuff going on too these days.
Well, as I was telling you earlier, I have a fairly broad view of music, and going to different cultures and listening to music in different parts of the world and recording and performing with different people, you get a different sense of what music is all about. For example, the music that we recorded when we went to Morocco, the Gnawa trance music. Working with these people, their music is about healing. Basically, the Gnawa music that we recorded with, like for example, Mustafa Batbou or Malem Mahmoud Gania. These guys played the sentir, which is basically a 3-stringed lute instrument, a low lute, almost like something that would be similar to what we would consider a bass guitar or a bass. But the music is all centered around a very simple tuning, an octave and the octave above and a fifth, and songs that basically are invocation to saints, for healing for a person who's ill. And basically that's the function of their music. It's basically about healing.
Yeah, that's something that we kind of lost touch with, I think, as far as I can tell. I mean, as music became a profitable industry, it kind of got taken over by the corporations, as you know, and I think it's lost some of its heart. Not entirely, but, maybe you have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of commercial music is just that. It's made to manufactured in the service of selling a product, whatever that product might be. That's anybody who's listened to music for 10 minutes can tell the difference.
Right. Well, absolutely right. Now,
when you go to other cultures, you get the sense that, hey, music has a whole different, is in the service of a whole different purpose. Music is in the service of healing people, bringing people together, making people feel better about themselves, healing whatever is ailing them, in Bali, every little village has a little gamelan orchestra.
Wow.
And these people basically, this orchestra is basically about community. These people get together and play gamelan music, which has an entirely different tonal system than anything that we're familiar with in the West. But it's really about expressing themselves as a community.
Huh. Interesting. That's another thing that we seem to have lost touch with is our community. We've lost touch with our ability to create community, living in isolated, fragmented, busy lives. And, you know, it's a dangerous and precarious situation for the planet and for all of us, as you know. I said that already, but you can't say it enough. That healing is necessary, and music is a major component of healing. Bali and Morocco, what were some of your other stops that you noticed were creating music for spiritual healing or for communion with the shamans, or getting in touch with, something higher? What are some of the other countries that you had that experience with?
Well, in India, for example, sitar music, the traditional classical music of India.
Oh yeah.
They basically have that same sensibility that we seem to have kind of gotten away from in the West, where music is primarily a commercial function.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem with the commercial aspects of music. You play music, you want to make a living at it. That's okay, but you have to remember what it is you're really doing, what the purpose of your making music is all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in these other cultures, they haven't lost that sensibility. They understand that music is about moving people's hearts and minds to get them to think higher thoughts and to be in a better place spiritually, mentally, in every sense.
Absolutely.
But in India, it was a great experience because the musicians there are very dedicated people, and they have this sense about we're doing something that's again for the community, for the people that we live with, and the people who come to hear our music.
Right. I remember years ago listening to Ravi Shankar, and that's one of the people that you've worked with in India, isn't it?
Yeah, we did a couple of projects with Ravi, and in fact, we released him on one of our labels on Terrascape Records a couple of years ago, and we just felt that his music was so powerful and so meaningful and so and necessary for the planet that we had to do something with him, and we got in touch with his people. And we did a couple of projects one in Varanasi, which is where he's from originally, and one in Delhi. And we did about 3 or 4 hours of music. We wanted to videotape, but we just really got into the music and just decided we don't want any distractions from from a camera crew and recorded the music. Right.
With all these different places that you've been to, excuse me, and that you've taped, Morocco, India, and Bali, and I'm sure some others, maybe Australia, New Zealand, the Asian countries. I mean, boy, they have some interesting music.
Yeah, we've done projects in China. We've done projects in the Philippines.
Wow.
Basically, it's kind of like, okay, what's interesting? What haven't we done, and what can we do next?
Cool. Always a sense of exploration. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. I mean, we started doing years ago. We started thinking about these kinds of things, and the first place we went was Bali, and we kind of just went there cold. We didn't know what we were going to find, and we've met a couple of guys who said, come to my village up on the north side of the island, Singaraja province, and we've got the guy said, I have a great gamelan orchestra in my village. So we went there, Now, the main cultural center of Bali is Ubud. There are a lot of schools that teach classical gamelan playing and stuff. But we decided we were going to go up to the north side of the island, where there were just simple villages, people playing basically in their own little farm villages.
Mm-hmm.
We went up there and we met with a family, and they said, "Yeah, we have an orchestra in our village," and they had like a little central square and a little covered central square pavilion, like maybe like 20 feet by 20 feet, not very big. But they all showed up. All the guys were dressed in their finest. They all sat down and they played for like 3 hours. Then they had dancers, and we recorded them. And at the end of the day, I said, man, we feel like we've been here like 5 hours. And it's a 3-hour drive up there from where we were on the other side of the island. And I said, we're going home. But then a guy comes up on a little, like on a little motor scooter, a little Vespa, from the next village down, which was maybe like a quarter of a mile away down the same road. And he said, "You have to come and record us. You can't just record them. We're the next village, and you have to record us too."
Wow. And so you did?
So I said, "Okay, we'll come back tomorrow."
Oh, okay.
We came back tomorrow, and they were all ready. They had their own little pavilion in their village, and they were ready to go.
Wow.
We recorded them too.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Did you notice
there was this whole sense of, like, we want you to hear what we're doing. We want you to hear our music. We want you to appreciate it.
Wow, and, that's terrific.
So it's always fun. You never know where you're going to run into on these deals. With Mustafa Bagbu, in Morocco, was totally serendipitous. We went there to record a whole different group of guys, and we recorded them, but then one of them said, "Hey, Mustafa Bagbu is sitting in the central square there in Marrakesh. Why don't you come over and talk to him?" So I went over and talked to him. He said, "Oh, come to my house. I want you to record us." I said, "Okay, let's do it."
And how was it?
It was great. It was a great session.
Oh, good.
We sat in his inner courtyard. The house was built around like an inner courtyard. It's a warm country there, all year round. And we sat in the inner courtyard there. We brought a couple of guys, with recording gear, and we recorded them in his house.
Wow. Did you develop any preferences in terms of countries and types of music, or did you feel they were all different, unique, and on their own?
No, I think they're all, as you said, very different, unique, and on their own. I've been just about everywhere in the world. South America, I love the music of South America. I love the music of the Andes. I love traditional Venezuelan music. China, I love Zhang music. China is one of my favorite. I have a Zhang in my studio, but when I went to do some recordings there, I brought a Zhang back with me.
Oh, my God.
I brought some gamelan back from Bali too, and I've got a studio full of instruments from all over the world that I just enjoy and love to have. But for me, I love them all. For me, ever since I was a kid, sound just touches me. Like any sound, whatever it is, it just hits me, and I have a feeling for it. So, anything I hear, I like.
Now, do you feel that music has the potential to shift our consciousness?
Yeah, it depends on if you're willing to let your conscience be shifted.
Good answer. Very good.
Sometimes I can be walking down the road and a truck zooms by and they hit the brakes and screech. I'll say, that's an interesting sound. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're open, if your head is open and you want to listen and you're listening for sounds and what do these sounds mean, then yes, absolutely right. If you want your consciousness to be changed, all you have to do is listen, and you have to be willing to let it be changed.
Right. Now, with your present music, Logical Drift. Now, is that the name of the whole group of music that you're doing, or is that just the one album that you're doing?